I don't know if that's intentional.
Oh, yeah. It's live on the stream, but I can't have the camera on both.
Got it.
So yeah, we're live now. Wispy Grove, that's Meepy, is keeping the party going.
Awesome.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
I need to pop out the chat. Can I pop out the chat? Is that a thing I can do? It is. Thank God.
Also what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
I love how we don't get like better at Twitch.
I know it hasn't happened yet.
Inscrutable.
I need to close as much crap as I can so that it's more performant. All right. Got a small crowd in here at the moment. Give folks a minute to filter in if we're going to see other folks join us from our Discord. Give a moment for Cheery to ring the alarm bells in the Discord. Our stream is unprepared for the amount of clip art that they're about to see. 150 followers, my God.
I love that like Kraken tentacle clip art from Wispy.
What cracked it? Oh, yeah. What is that from? Squids 1, 2, and 3 from another chat, I assume.
Modular, multi-part. I love it. You compose your own Kraken. It even has a headpiece. Amazing. And a metal plate. It's a cyborg.
Cyborg squid.
Love it. Speaking of underwater enemies.
Of which we need to make more of.
Maybe we should make a cyborg squid.
I feel like that would not quite fit our game.
I don't know. Ironite plating. Gemstone eye.
We need follower emotes for your Steam. We need to stream more often, I think, before we can do that. We don't stream quite enough to be legit enough to have our own emotes.
This progression.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I need to turn off this little Voyager of Nera text box. There we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, is there chat on there too? There is chat. Okay. Well, happy holidays, everybody. This is our last stream of the year. So I'm Michael, and this is Ryan. Ryan is our game director. I'm the CEO for Treehouse, and the two of us are the co-founders for Treehouse. We've been working together for since 2020, but we actually know each other from college days. Hello, Kumara Moon and Pixelcraft. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so Ryan and I have known each other for like 13, 14 years at this point. Pretty long time.
Sounds right.
Came
to my art school and was looking for artists and recruited me.
That's
ended up dropping out of school, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. So,
yes,
thanks, Michael.
I convinced Ryan to drop out of college, or out of art school. Okay, so the thing that we're excited to talk with you guys about for the end of year stream is how the demo went and all the stuff that we're going to be working on next, and stuff that we have to look forward to in the start of the new year. So it's going to be a bunch of stuff, but same as always, like we're watching chat, ask questions if you have them. Like kind of the fun of this is just getting to talk with people directly. So let's start talking about like how the demo went. So I was saying this before some more people joined the channel. there's a hell of a lot of clip art here, so like apologies. I feel like it's really dating me and making me feel really old, but it's the fastest way I could think of how to decorate this giant whiteboard. So the first, uh, as a reminder, if you guys haven't seen it, which would be crazy that you're in our Twitch right now. Hi, Riley. Um, the it would be crazy, but we shared a new trailer at the OTK Expo, as you guys might remember, and that led to a lot of visibility. Actually, probably the single biggest like showing of our game to date, which was really fun for us because we haven't put out a new trailer since we announced the game. And clearly, you guys know we've added a lot to the game since that point. So it was really fun to see a lot of people's fresh reactions and just put the game in front of a lot of people. That ended up being quite a lot of eyeballs, like all across OTK Expo and all of its co-streamers was almost like 60,000 people watching the game. And, of course, not just our trailer, but lots of other trailers. Even if it included some things like Asmongold taking a tactical poop or whatever it was in the middle of our trailer. But in spite of that, a lot of eyeballs, a lot of new people discovered the game, and we could see it actually in the people coming to our Steam page and showing up in our Discord. And of course, trying out our demo. So we've had a ton of players join our demo, which is really exciting for us. A big part of coming to Steam was trying to open this up and get a lot more people to come in, get a lot more feedback, uh, go straight to the source, and have people who are like, hey, I just like survival crafting games, be able to stumble across our game and give us feedback because we're trying to get this feedback to make the game better, right? Sort of dual purpose of like putting out info about the game and also just like getting valuable intel. Um, Thank you for spreading word of mouth. That was a huge part of how the game has picked up more players. So we 20x'd our biggest playtest before this, and some people are playing a lot. You might notice this goofy ass poster over here on the side, and that's because our top playing player, we're not going to expose their name in case they don't want to know it, because I don't think this person's even in our Discord. They have 127 hours in our game, in our demo, which is pretty fucking nuts. And like in some ways, I'm like kind of hoping they just like launched the game and then walked away like AFK'd or something, because that's a lot of hours to spend in the demo. But honestly, number 2 and number 3 are still at like 90 some hours, so it's not unbelievable. It's just a lot of hours, which is really cool and surprising. Time well spent. Thank you. Specious spirit. Oh, that's kind of perfect, actually. But yeah, that's surprising the crap out of us. The number of people who are playing, how much people have gotten deep into the game. Some stats that just like to share it because it's kind of like fun to know. I think part of the joy for playing a game and like tuning into a stream like ours is sort of like learning about development and learning about like how games like this get made. Like the average playtime for someone playing our game is like over 2 hours right now, and like everyone in the top 10% is like 6+ hours in, like has probably played through the whole experience. So that's kind of blown us away, and we've just sort of seen those hours climb and climb and climb since the demo came out, which is really cool, really cool. Um, we're also seeing players from all over, which is honestly kind of surprising because like our team is pretty much entirely based in North America. Obviously, the demo's only playable in English, but like to zoom out a step, something that Ryan and I have talked about from the get-go, and you can even see it from like our company site and stuff. A lot of why Treehouse exists is because we're like games as like this everyday way to spend time with friends. It's kind of a global thing, right? It's something that we've gotten to see and experience as developers. watching how people use games as just like their favorite way to spend time with their friends, full stop, period. Like even higher than like meeting in person. In a lot of ways, like the US is kind of the furthest behind in that trend. Like I think the US is still a little held back by some of this like stereotypes about gamers. And those just aren't true in so many other places in the world. So even without doing the marketing and without like being able to play the game in like Spanish or whatever, we're seeing like French streamers, we're seeing Spanish and Portuguese YouTube videos pop up, a whole slew of them just in the last 24 hours from Ukraine, which is really, really cool. And very much like, an experience we want people to have around the world, because, we're already seeing people use games as like this way to hang out with their friends. And that's what we want to build ultimately. And just a couple fun comments, and Google Translate turns out is pretty good actually in terms of like this sort of simple statements of just seeing people get really excited about what we're building. So we've been loving that positivity. Shout out from Germany. That's awesome. Oh, especially because it's so late for you. Thank you for tuning into our stream. Um, but actually, speaking of which, like less than half of the people who've been playing the game are actually in the US. We're seeing actually a lot of people from China, from Canada, from Russia, Korea, from Germany. So you're in good company. From UK, Australia, and France. Those are sort of like the top 8 to 10 sort of countries of where they're coming from, which is really cool, and definitely something we hope to sort of expand as we're actually like, kind of gearing up to launch the game, and really trying to spread the word. So hey, Kumar, if you've got friends, if you've got gaming club in Germany and you want to plug our game, we would be crazy grateful. um, uh, and there's also been so much feedback, so much feedback in the best way. Because man, like honestly, like, for people who've been on this stream before, you've heard us talk about this. It's like you feel like you're working on this game in a cave for so long, and then so much of what we think of as like best game development practice is figuring out ways to get feedback from real players when it's still just like gray box, looks like crap, but like technically works. And so this in comparison is like a gallon of feedback poured right into our stomachs, and it's awesome. um, I actually work for a new gaming VR gaming franchise. Oh, okay. I mean, this is getting way ahead of ourselves, but we should talk later. um, but the feedback's been amazing. It's been super, super amazing. We just pulled out a couple of snippets from Discord because a lot of these just made our day and just made us smile. So we were like, dude, like it's meant so much to us. Like, let's just take the opportunity to sort of like shout it out and share it with other people. Cozy Sweets was talking about streaming for 15 hours the day before and just playing it, and then excited to have a solo and group stream, a save that they can start running. This one's one of my favorite, is just a soldier's fate. This game is fun, period. But a ton of people who've just been putting a lot of hours in, and seeing some of the love that we've been putting into the game, and just people stumbling across it from the demo page, hearing about it from a streamer that they follow, and then having a great time with their friends, with their significant others, with their kids even. And that's been so satisfying as developers. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to share these messages with us. And the ones we grabbed here are all of the like, positive, just like pure pieces of candy into our emotions, right? But a huge part of the value and a huge part of what we've been craving is also the feedback about what to do next, right? What's broken, what is good, and we want a lot more of it. What's like not quite there, but like is super huge potential for being the thing in our game. Hey, Dev Peanut, welcome back. Um, and so we've been kind of sorting this feedback into these different buckets. And Ryan, as our game director, is helping corral all of our thinking on this, right? And start to translate that into like the perpetual thing, which is like, here's this infinitely long list of stuff we could do. What are we actually going to do? So we thought we should just talk about some of those things.
Yeah, I mean
Maybe.
the whole team is. It was really fun. A couple days after the demo, we had all these new videos from streamers and from playtests, and we just kind of like everyone on the team just kind of spent the day going through them and like picking apart different trends, both positive and negative things, opportunities we saw that we could pursue in the future. And then we had like a giant session led by Steph where we talked over them. And so it's really amazing as a team. You're working on something on your own, and suddenly there's this influx of players, and they have feelings and ideas, and being able to go and kind of follow those and compare those to theories you have about that game. It's been really cool.
This is
And yeah,
this is kind of the payoff moment as a developer, in my
it,
opinion.
it's the best time for sure.
Um, so the first and easy category is like I just called this is rad. We want more, right? And these are some of the things that I think maybe not a big surprise for because this is feedback that directly came from some of the folks in this chat as well. It's like there's some things that are clearly standing out as like this is super fun. This is a big part of why I'm really into the demo. Give me more of it. I'm just like can't wait for there to be more. Some of the winners inside of here, like the art style, right? Like there's been so much positivity about the visuals in this game. Huge shout out to some of the artists that I think are in this chat as well. Kyle, Mitch, Andrew, I think have gotten to soak in a lot of the love here. But it's clearly continued to come in as we brought in more people. It's really fucking cool. It's really, really fucking cool. Uh, hey, Carolyn. Carolyn. Oh, hey. I realize as I say it out loud. Um, Also a ton of positivity, and Ryan, please jump in with any color here, but like a ton of positivity about the embrace and that first biome as a really cool and like beautiful and striking place to explore. Um, I think it's been like a really common thing, like watching a lot of streamers. The moment they come in, standing on that platform and looking out and sort of seeing the ancient lying in the distance, and then that huge stone arm, I think kind of set some of the tone for the environment. But we've seen that been like a moment where people just pause and they're just like, oh whoa, in like just the way that we sort of hoped internally when we were building it.
Yeah,
Content
the
variety.
scale has been something that people loved. I'm really excited for our second biome, which is coming soon because it has these like tall coral spires and more parts of the ancient. So I think that's gonna hopefully invoke some of the same feelings. Yeah, the art style seems to be really resonating with people, even just from like the YouTube like thumbnails. It's really cool how much people are liking the art direction of our game.
Yeah. Content variety. I mean, there's a lot of different ways we could cut this. But I mean, people want a lot more of a lot of things. But yeah, glider is like different ways to move around the map is an easy one. A lot more things to craft, a lot more things to build, a lot more enemies to discover and fight, more spaces to explore for sure. So there's just a raw, straight, like inject this content into my veins kind of vibe to a lot of the feedback, which is really cool. And then skimming, which we've shouted out multiple times, and even when we added it to the game, was a moment of just like such delight. Definitely seen that continue to be true as we've invited more people into the game. Skimming just keeps coming up as this thing that's super cool, and then wanting to be able to do more with it. Like, oh, I wish I could still jump, or like, oh, I wish I could have like these other moments. And like we are full of a lot of different ideas of how to do that, but it's cool to see that appetite sort of only grow as more of the game comes online. Anything you want to add there, Ryan, before we talk about some of the juicier, more complicated stuff?
No, let's get some more of the constructive stuff.
Cool. Okay. This one I just called like this needs to be cooler. Um and I think, oh, hey, come on. There we go. So a few of these things were like more things to do with the boat. I think we heard a lot about this one, right? Especially just like from what you hear about the game being a seafaring game, like people's brains go to the boat a lot, and then finding like, oh, hey, actually, I don't have as much to do on the boat as I wanted. Or actually, hey, I think I can just skim there and I can just sort of skip some of the boat stuff entirely. And which is not really our intent. And there's actually a lot of stuff that we have planned for the boats that just isn't in the game right now. So we're going to be talking about a couple of those things that we're going to be working on shortly. Uh, I'm talking a lot, Ryan. You want to talk about some of these other ones?
Yeah, sure. I'll go from my memory because I don't have the mirror up. But yeah, I mean, another big thing that players were asking for, and I definitely feel, is underwater is pretty barren right now. You want more fauna and flora, things to do, more of that scale that we have kind of in the embrace extending down below. So the team's working on a lot of fun ideas for that now. We just got our first ocean enemy, the scary fish from the demo, in time, but we have a lot more plans there. And I think that'll really complement the boat. There'll be more reasons to use the boat, more reasons to kind of sail out into the unknown, more things to find when you do, more things to push back on you to force you to upgrade your boats or make sure you bring the things you need to survive. And so that's definitely something that we heard loud and clear, and I
Yeah.
think is going to be a really big focus of ours early next year.
TK, Def, Peanut, and Carolyn are all talking about how they tried to build on the boat, and then the boat just sort of like
Yep.
goes away, leaving behind all the stuff.
I died every time I saw that on stream because people were they expected that, they were delighted by that, and then they were so disappointed when all of their stuff was floating in the air. So I feel you.
Yeah, and we saw we saw actually multiple groups do this thing where they just like are in build mode, and they're like in the movement mode, so they're just like
Oh yeah.
holding a station while their buddy is sailing the ship. So just like bringing this crafting station along with you, so jank.
I remember doing that in Grounded too. I'd be like carrying our crafting station while the spider was chasing behind me. Um, good gameplay.
We can make that all more intentional. Um, a lot of comments around.
Combat was another big one. I mean, it's pretty bare bones, and we only have one enemy faction right now. We have plans to expand that, but we're definitely hearing a lot of feedback that combat needs to feel better and feel smoother and more consistent and feel more consistent. We particularly saw a lot of issues with kind of like when enemies spawned and kind of staying on your target instead of like moving past them. And so part of a release we'll talk about soon is going to be focused on trying to make the combat experience a lot better. Um, and similarly, another one of those needles that a lot of players felt, and people have already said in the chat, is hunger. And we actually have a big hunger update we've been calling Attrition 2.0 that Brandon, one of our tech designers, has been working on. It didn't quite make it in the demo, but we're already testing it internally, and I think it's going to make food a lot more interesting and less punishing and more useful. So
Yeah. Specifically in this category, we're talking about having more exciting frictions. We're not saying people are like, yo, give me more hunger, because we definitely heard the opposite of that. On the spirits front, spirits is a really interesting one because like it's been a moment of huge delight for a lot of people. Like how cute they are, having this little companion follow you around. There's like so many moments of delight, but in some ways it also feels like you can ignore a big portion of that content in a way that just doesn't quite feel right with how much importance we're putting on that system, or even sort of like our aspirations for like what that does for you in the game. So there's a lot of work we want to do to like integrate that more closely and also give you not just like make it like, well, now you need one in order to progress because that's what the stat block says. Instead, actually give you like reason to be excited about it. Speaking of hunger, hunger actually fits into our third. Why did he start moving again? That trips me out. Into our third category, which is I need this or I quit. And actually, in particular, I want to take a moment just to express our gratefulness because in a lot of our surveys and stuff, like when we were trying to collect feedback, we were literally like, dude, pretend that this is a brand new game out on early access. Tell us what you'd think about it. And some people are like, okay, if you don't have this feature in like 2024, you are throwing. Like, fuck this game. I'm out. And you know, from the game developer's angle, I'm like, dude, the opposite of liking the game is not disliking the game. The opposite of liking the game is just total dead silence when you ask that question. So actually getting that real feedback that some of these things are hard churn points is crazy valuable, because otherwise we'd literally just eat shit on early access, and that's like the path to mixed reviews, right? That's the path to like instantly churning people. So the more we learn about those things, the better.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, we got so much feedback and from the surveys there that we were able to kind of put together an entire release when we get back and from the holidays that's going to be dedicated to knocking those things down. And so it was amazing how much like clarity that survey feedback brought to like what should our targets be. So it was invaluable.
I feel like you're under anyone watching is understanding sort of my phase of the internet that I got in, as you can see from my meme based humor. Oh, did we just get a fresh follow? My preview window is tiny, but thank you for the follow.
Yeah, so
uh,
a lot of stuff in this category that we're kind of hearing people loud and clear, and we're planning on working on better settings, better controls, not getting stuck so much. Um, Definitely hear people wanting to play with a controller. I just got my Steam end of year like replay that kind of broke down all my activity, and I played more than 70% of the games this year with a controller, so that's very near and dear to my heart. So a lot of stuff here in terms of just like giving me people more options, giving people kind of things they expect in games in this day and age, and then also really like ironing over some of those frustrations, like hunger, like starving, like passing out, like not having time to go out and explore when you're playing solo.
thank you, Moon, for making me not feel like my humor is multiple generations too old. A lot of controller support in chat. Specious Spirit, what a solid perspectives on negatives
We will get
comments and
there.
choosing to find them helpful and improve instead of thinking the player is wrong. Um, dude, man, maybe it comes from working on some previous games, but honestly, people are so nice. People are crazy nice. Even some of this feedback of like, oh, dude, like this is trash without this. I'm like, dude, I like, you know, having gotten death threats and stuff from like working on League of Legends and whatever. This is like the gentlest, nicest feedback ever. We have like such a warm community.
Yeah, the worst is silence. So
Yeah,
we've been
yeah,
getting a ton
yes.
of feedback more than ever with this demo, and it's all really respectful. And almost all of it is stuff that we either already have been bugging us or things we haven't thought of, and then
Yeah.
they're really good ideas. So
Yeah. Yeah. Really
very
helps us
thankful for that.
with priorities too. Uh uh Prongs, welcome. First year in Steam review, that controller didn't beat mouse and keyboard, but barely. I
Ah,
mean, I still have actually, you know what's funny is that this I have sitting on my desk is the same controller I used to test the game that Ryan and I worked on to break into the industry back in like 2010, 2011. So this controller is still going strong. I
still
still use
working.
this.
That looks like a 360 controller.
It
I think
is a
I've gone through
360 controller.
probably 15 controllers since then. I just bought myself a new Elite controller for Christmas. It has the
Ooh,
back paddles, so
where
big
I'm,
controller fan.
I'm not made of money, Ryan.
Oh,
um,
Wolf says otherwise.
let's see. I have the issue in my last session. The other devs were always so toxic with player feedback. This team is that's a bummer. That's too bad.
That's nice to
Any
hear, though.
feedback is a real gift because silence is so soul crushing. um, what are we actually doing? So there's this first block of work that we're going to be heading to right after the holidays. Here, I shouldn't talk through your content, Ryan. You go for it. You go for it.
Oh yeah, I mean, so it's the end of the year. It's a pretty busy time. We've been having to support the demo, but we're starting to kind of plan what we're going to do next. And so we've been taking all of that feedback from all its many sources and deciding what we want to prioritize next year. And so, like we mentioned earlier, we're going to do like the first month back. We're going to kind of focus that on quality of life improvements. So a lot of these things related to settings and hunger and the things that we think are like immediate targets to make the game better. We're going to fit all those into a release and hopefully get that out pretty soon. So this includes, can't promise everything will make it, but right now we're planning on getting some key binding in there, getting some more settings and having those be more available. making some improvements to combat and enemy spawns and try to really tighten that up and make that feel better. We have the attrition 2.0, the big hunger change that Brandon's been working on that we're going to be testing and iterating on. A bunch of UI improvements. I know particularly the refiner UI was confusing to people. So Steph and other people on the team have been really figuring out ways to make that clearer and better. Another big push is, we suddenly had a huge influx of players, and we're now kind of hungry for more data. Like feedback's great, but we want to see what level are players getting to, how long does it take, and so we're actually going to spend a lot of time making sure that on the back end, our stats and metrics and information is higher quality, so we can really see how people are experiencing this new content.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be fun because we're going to come back in the new year. We're all going to be a little groggy, and we're going to work on a bunch of things that I think are initially instantly are going to make people really happy. Right? They're going to be like, "Oh, thank goodness, I was asking for this." Um, and then while we do that, we're going to be working on kind of a larger spring update. We're still figuring out exactly how to slice it, exactly when it's coming out. But these are our big changes. So this is when our new biome, the reef, that we've talked about in previous live streams, is coming online. With that, to help you traverse that, that's when we're bringing back the glider. I think some people have even tested that in earlier builds, but we're really plussing it up and making it maybe not as cool as skimming, but something that you want to use. And then this is also where we're going to really put a lot more depth into the spirits and kind of seafaring gameplay. So we're adding a lot more to the ocean, reasons to go out there, things to do, creatures to find. I think we'll show it in a sec, but we're adding kind of a big bad to the ocean, a giant sea serpent that's going to come and hunt you down, whether you're on the skimmer swimming or on your boat. And then we're also putting some pretty big changes in the game in terms of how you get around, why you might need the boat. So as we bring the second biome online, we're going to be introducing these kind of elemental storms that you have to sail through. And if you can make it through, then you'll see kind of the coral spires of the reef in the distance. If not, you better go upgrade your boat. You better go prepare some more. And so I think a lot of texture that we've been wanting to add to the game, and particularly to the ocean, is going to come online pretty early in that period.
Yeah.
So really excited about that.
We actually have a couple of supporting visuals, which is also kind of just a fun sort of look at in development. I mean, you guys can probably tell from being in the Embrace, but the number of different just foliage pieces to make the space feel rich and full and vibrant is a lot of stuff. And so these are a couple things from one of our talented partners with this art group called Dardo. They're building out some of these different sort of coral components and reefs, and there's all sorts of weird pushed shapes. We should actually get Mitch to come and talk about some of the art direction for how he's thought about making the space distinct from the Embrace, but still something that feels kind of unique to Voyagers, of a massive, crazy scale, overgrown, supersized coral cliffs that sort of define the reef. See, much orange. Yes, these two in particular are pretty orange. There's a whole diversity of other stuff that is not these that are orange.
A lot of salmon and coral, but yes, there'll be lots of colors in the reef.
Yeah. Although, yeah, I mean, some of that I think is even seeing it from across the map, seeing some of that color difference is a big part, I think, of knowing that's a different part of the world. Some of the other fun stuff is a look at what this sort of water boat hunter type enemy, abyss stalker, looks like, and some of the sense of scale. It is real big and probably pretty scary. So this isn't rigged or anything yet, so you won't see it functioning in the game, and you might be able to see some of the parallels with the snapper, the deep fang snapper that we have in the game. But this is sort of the big grown-up version that will threaten your boat as well. And last but not least, a little we were just talking about whether there are sea serpents to look out for. It's funny because we're all subliminally trained from these other ocean games of these things that you sort of hope are in the game, maybe fear are in the game, and some of those things are totally what we want to pay off in reality. And so this is one of those classic ones where it's just like, dude, yeah, what is that thing where when you see its glowing eyes go underneath you in the boat, you're like, oh, holy shit, we're not alone. And this is sort of our answer for that. At least the next starting point. Um, and then a little sneak peek, courtesy of our own Andrew, who was a recent guest on this stream, who does, pretty much anything that moves in the game involves Andrew. So not just animation, not just rigging and stuff like that, but also some of our visual effects. He's been working a little bit on some of those storms that you'll have to sort of break through. There he is, Waterproof Jedi. Storms you have to break through. Don't worry, this is just a little snippet of it, of some of the storms you see in the distance. And you can see the crackling of red lightning. And you can sort of see the wall of it out in the distance and know that you have to pass through it to get to the other side. We will have some higher res and other sneak peeks of it as it gets further along, but just a little bit of what Andrew's been experimenting with internally, and it looks dope as hell. just to throw that out there. Um, Andrew, just to plug him again, is also I think this has been one of the things that has come up the most of just like the clouds and the sunrises and sunsets. Andrew's been putting a lot of love into those things, so now he's going to bring that to some of the storms. Um, I swear I love both Subnautica and Valheim, but freaking gourd grief and a half. I'd rather run out of the room sometimes than face the Leviathans in particular.
I feel you. I remember
Yeah.
I played Subnautica almost all the way through in VR, and I remember the first time I kind of like leaned into the darkness, and I think it was called the Reapers. Those big scary things came out. I had to nope out of there and like calm down before I could keep playing.
we're,
Um,
we're, we're not going for the same
no,
you're all alone, like in a bottomless ocean type horror in the game. But I think there is a real, like, you know, traveling this dangerous ocean because Nera is a dangerous, magical ocean world where there are threats. And I don't think we're going for straight, like, you know, uh, 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 endless sea horror. But we do want there to feel like there's danger and stakes and threat and things that you can only see in this game that you won't see in other games. So
yeah,
hopefully we
looking
land on
for
the right side of a threat
yeah.
and not just like, like get me the fuck out of here.
Not as much existential horror, but we are looking for contrast, right? Like I think right now the ocean is a little bit too safe, a little bit too barren, and so we're really looking to have like high moments where you're sailing with your spirits, like and it's a beautiful day and you're feeling really good, your stomach's full. But then also, especially as you're like going into a new area, like heading to a new biome, we want to really ratchet up the tension and the challenge, the difficulty,
Yeah.
and really kind of reward you for preparing for that.
Wow. Specious Spirit is given a Worlds Adrift comparison. Uh,
Ah,
th-
one of my favorite games of all time. I'm so excited for Lost Skies, the new game that the studio is working on.
yeah, we're gonna play the crap out of that one internally when we get there. So these two things are a lot of the things that are right at the top of our plate when we come back after the holidays, right? We have this series of like kind of really sharp demo feedback where we're like, okay, we want to just start hitting those things really hard, and then we want to get into some of the like juicy, exciting content that we hopeful will make for a really exciting demo update, like actually deploy it to Steam when we get to that point. Um, we got a couple questions. So do we get a harpoon? Boy, we've talked about a harpoon a lot, haven't we?
Yeah, still figuring out all the upgrades you get on your boat, but it's definitely in the conversation. And we're trying to really make sure that we kind of introduce some things to the world that you then have to solve using your boat. And so those range from ways you can upgrade your boat, kind of abilities that spirits can give to your boat, and things that you can add to the boat. So the harpoon is
Yeah.
definitely something we're considering, but no firm plans yet.
I think Jade, a good way to show you our thinking of that is really like, what is this exciting moment or challenge or like a problem that the player is going to run into, and then does what is the right solution to it? And I think being like a seafaring game, there are some things like with a boat, with a harpoon, that very naturally sort of speak to what you'd expect in a good way. And so that's sort of like our flow through this of like, okay, we want to add more frictions in this space. Okay, now how does a player deal with that? What tools do they have?
Yeah, and a good
Um,
example in the chat, like we definitely want to, fishing is kind of a side activity right now. You can see it has like less visual polish, but we really want to make that more important. And that's also a big part of kind of some of the hunger changes we're making, is we're really trying to make fishing a first class activity. And we definitely want you to be able to like have your fishing boat, right? A boat that you're like, I'm going to take this out, I'm going to go do a bunch of fishing because of the ways that I've upgraded it. I'm better at that, and really fulfill that fantasy.
then Rio Meow asked, is there plans to add any sort of animal husbandry in the future?
Not currently. I mean, it's something that we actually had in the game at one point, at fairly early stages. We're definitely trying to add more things for you to do at your base, add more magical creatures in the world. We have a bunch of kind of new critters. Some people even saw early versions of those, like the bullwogs, those little bulldog-shaped seal things. And so we definitely want to bring more of that to the world. And there might be some point in the future where then you can, I don't know, you have those in your base and do things with them. But no firm plans on that right now. But it's definitely a space that we're keeping our eyes on.
Yeah, I think there's a couple features that feel like they're sort of on the edge of of like you see them in some survival crafting games. Sometimes they solve like really critical problems for players or really fun within that loop. But raw priority wise, like animal husbandry, maybe like farming is one that has come up in the past where it's like it might not make it before early access, but then it's probably something that we're like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, how does that fit into the loop now? Once we sort of clear that core set that we're like, this has to be in there for the game to work.
Yeah,
Um,
gardening, farming, pets, animal husbandry. I mean, this is one of the coolest parts about launching in the way we are and being in early access. Is some of these are really good ways to kind of expand the game once we feel like we've gotten the core of it to a
yeah.
really solid spot.
Couple other, I've definitely been getting Valheim vibes from ocean exploration. Keep waiting for the sea serpents that come out and get me. I mean, there's a reason that I think they went straight for that. Bend over while fishing cracks me up. Throw ability for the spear. Oh, it's kind of interesting. Um, we haven't actually talked about that, although it would be kind of hilarious to.
We have actually, Michael. That's been
Oh, really?
a
Just
common topic. Yes.
craft 10 of them and just be like hucking them?
So many cool ideas there. I don't know what we'll go with, but people want to be able to, have the spear feel even more different than the club and then the sword by being able to throw it, feel more like kind of a ranged agility weapon. There's also been a lot of talk about wanting to use the spear to be able to do things, to hunt, to fish. So we're still planning there, but that's
Yeah.
I think at some point you'll probably be able to throw something.
And just to say while I'm reading through this chat, Nabri, and thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate it. I really really appreciate it. We crave feedback, and I think exposing as much as we can about like what we're doing is a really critical part to like how we think games should be made. So I really appreciate the kind words. Oh, I'm missing so many messages now. Scrolling. Meepy wants farming. No new news there.
We definitely
uh,
want to fix the disappearing hair, Peanut. That is causing us to pull our hair out.
oh
So we'll
God,
be
yeah,
prioritizing that soon.
yeah. Yeah, being able to talk with the dev team, like again, very much just the style of development we want. A lot of our like games that are our favorites, it's like totally just opens up so many ways to like learn about what would be good. And we're just like, dude, that's the kind of development team we want to be. Um, awesome that they're still asking you to play the game. Uh, uh, really quick on some of the other stuff that's upcoming later on, right? Like this is sort of, I would say that these two categories up here of like right after the holidays, this is kind of the edge of the known world right now, right? These are a couple months worth of development. And then there are a couple other things where we're like, we know we need to do them. We want to do them before early access. And then like still kind of TBD for exactly when these land are some of these things. And Ryan, go ahead. I know you already hit on some of these.
Yeah. So we've talked about some of these, and to be clear, most of these are all things that we're trying to get in before early access. We're just kind of finding the right spot to slot them in. But yes, controller support. I want it. Players want it. We just need to find time to do it and make it good. That'll also maybe open up some possibilities for playing on the Steam Deck, which is pretty cool. Um, as Michael said, we have a lot of players who are playing, outside of North America, certainly, and so we have are working on some localization right now and translating the game to more languages. That's also something we'll be focusing on. We'll have more information about that soon. Performance improvements are just going to be like our life forever, right? I think we made a lot of those for the demo. Those who played earlier builds, I hope the demo performs better. We've been really doing a lot of work there, but there's a lot more to go, right? Like open world survival, early access survival crafting games, it's a tough challenge, and so the team is constantly working on improvements there. We have our third biome. I don't know if we've kind of shared anything about that, but we kind of have it planned. We have some parts of it made, and so we're going to be releasing that before the game is finished. And then with that comes a bunch of new content, new enemy factions. We're trying to make sure that every biome has like a very visually distinct and kind of unique enemy faction, in addition to kind of other enemies and critters. We want to have more building pieces made of different materials, more things to decorate your base in, and we're going to be delivering these as we work on more of the content in the game. And then our initial focus is going to be on seafaring, both the ocean, but spirits aren't very far behind that. And so we have a bunch of changes that I'm really excited about for spirits, where they can give you kind of more exciting abilities, more active abilities, be a little bit more important to the game. Right now, I think we're seeing people really like them. I think they're really cute. I think they're interesting. But we want to figure out ways to kind of integrate them more into the game loop and make players more motivated to go out and find all the spirits. So we have some
Yeah.
really fun changes coming there too. That'll hopefully really up the kind of magical feeling of the world.
Yeah. I a lot of the way we're feeling about it is like both seafaring and spirits. There's like so much promise there. And I think the way that it's sort of come online, it's starting to feel like, oh, that's like a big promise of the game. And then what we're delivering so far is like not quite there, right? Spirits are sort of landing on a lot of the right areas. Seafaring, we haven't really gotten to put a lot of the love that we want to put into it. So we're finally getting around to those things, which we are very much looking forward to. Nabri, and I saw you ask, the reef is coming to the demo. I caught that, but is there a date I missed? So if you want to playtest some of this content, so we actually are still going to be running some playtests with our Discord community, because the demo I think is relatively like, we want to keep it a pretty stable, pretty polished build, because people might just be wandering in from other games and trying out the game. So if you really want to check out stuff in development, please sign up in Discord to playtest, because that's still so helpful for us. And kind of like this stream, we also want to be like, here's this rough thing. Like, what do you guys think? But timing wise for that, we're probably going to be around March or early April to seeing a lot more of the reef and looking for feedback on that. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll be
Yeah.
pushing a lot of updates, both to
Yes.
the kind of test group and to the demo. So definitely stay
Yeah.
tuned, and these things will start to trickle in.
Yeah. Another question, which is, will all the spirits end up being unique, or are there chances you can get duplicates?
Oh yeah, good question. Um, it's possible that'll change. Right now, we're trying to focus a lot on kind of making each spirit feel unique and kind of give you unique things. So that's kind of the direction we're going in right now. Right now, I think one of our problems with some of the spirits is they feel a little bit generic across the types, and so our team has some ideas for how to really improve that. But yeah, we really want it to feel like there are these spirits in the world that all have kind of like different purposes and therefore uniqueness. And you really are excited that you found Calvin the Spirit, for example, not a real name.
Yeah, Calvin. Write that down, Ben. Our boy Calvin. Yes, that's the full title. Question: can I get a spirit that will harvest wood for me, so I don't have to anymore, so I can build them a factory? You kind of
Maybe.
already can, actually.
Technically, they can harvest wood for you in the generators that you can build. We are going back and revisiting a lot of the things that spirits give you, and so in the very near future, we want them to give you you have more flexibility in terms of which spirits you bring along with you and what they give you, and particularly looking into some more active ways they can help you. So that might take the form of harvesting or gathering. It might be helping you in combat. But that's something that we kind of got like a first pass on. and we really want to push that up. And so spirits are even more interesting in terms of how they interact with your gameplay.
Are we gonna start chucking the fire spirits like grenades?
I did say we'd throw something at some point, so it could be a spirit, could be a spear, could be something else.
uh, I think spirits being more involved in like you know combat in some way I think is a great thing. I don't know if it's maybe that's too Power World. We'll
We
see.
definitely want to push more of that. We want to remain legally distinct, of course, but
Oh yeah, there was this really funny bug. I think I was the one that found that bug actually, where we screwed up the bow ammo at one point, and you could fire all sorts of other things as ammo. So we could shoot the dormant spirits as ammo, and if you shot it, it was just gone forever. And we were like, "Oh
incredible
no,
bug.
this is like so game breaking so quickly." um, yeah, it would like auto slot into ammo too. uh, Jessica 88. I played your demo and gosh, this is a fun game. Fantastic work, guys. Looking forward to future releases. Thank you. And thank you for joining our chat. Really excited for you guys to see all the cool new stuff coming. Because if you were excited about the demo, boy, that's like tip of the iceberg, let me tell you. Um, I have a little something to close us out. But are there any questions before we go to sort of my little close in here? I'm super late to the stream, but has there been any talk about tying in the spirits to the narrative and progression through the islands? Oh, that is kind of a new question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New question. Very, very, very timely question. Yes, lots of talk about that. In fact, that's one of our main goals for kind of these next few releases. I've been kind of describing the spirits as being a little bit optional right now. I mean, they're cute. They'd be cuter if you could pet them. They give you some powerful things. But you don't really have to engage with them that much outside of just kind of upgrading your base anchor. And so we're actually going to make them much, much more tied to how you progress through the game. In fact, in upcoming release, they'll be like the main key that allows you to unlock the gate to get to the next biome. And they'll be giving you abilities that are really kind of like gameplay defining, and you really need to be able to overcome the challenges that Nera throws at you. There's a bunch of plans on the narrative side as well. We should have a stream in the future where we talk about some of that stuff. But yeah, spirits are going to become a lot more critical, a lot more essential, and hopefully a lot more exciting soon.
Um,
And I hear you loud and clear on the pets. We will we will try to get some more pets in the game.
let's see. Wait. I have a question. I submitted it to the suggestion board as well. Thank you for doing that because that suggestion board is so helpful for us. What are your thoughts on having a creative mode or game modes in general, but especially for creative build modes?
Oh, yeah, I got a pretty good answer for this. So yeah, more settings, more customization, in general is something we've heard a lot. And most other survival crafting games offer it. So we don't have it right now for the demo. Not sure exactly where it will slot in, but we are planning on offering server settings. So whether you're playing solo or with a dedicated server or with your friend group, you can kind of fine tune the experience. So we're still figuring out exactly what settings to put in there, but things like XP rate, combat difficulty, how many enemies there are, things like you would find in other survival crafting games, we'll be adding to that menu or to those options. And so through that, you can kind of create your own sandbox or creative or kind of whatever mode you want for that server.
Yeah, I think even just from sort of like our sort of like why we're building a survival crafting game in the first place is some of that flexibility for people to be able to like use it the way they want, and also for it to be like a flexible thing for you to play with that might be kind of different from what another group wants to play with, for you and a group of friends that all kind of want something different, and that ability to do some of that fine tuning. So we definitely
Yeah.
want to add some of that flexibility because I think that's part of the draw and the joy of survival crafting.
Yeah. And it'd be so hard for us to kind of tune those modes and kind of offer something for everybody. And so I really like one of the cool things about being early access and in this genre is we can kind of hand that over to players and they can kind of set the experience they want.
Carolyn asks, oh, also the affinities on the spirits and augments. Will the two at any point affect each other so that you could, via augments, buff the affinities you've chosen to use?
A lot of changes coming to the affinity system in general. We're trying to give you kind of more options there, have them be a little bit more interesting, a little bit less like stat sticks in certain areas. So too early to talk about specific details there, but yes, there'll be a lot more interactions between different spirit abilities, different types, the gear that you've chosen to bring with you, and the spirits. And so I think we're going to have a lot more kind of interesting options and build crafting there. And then also as we introduce new biomes, you'll be getting new and different and stronger spirits, and so that'll continue to progress as you go through the game.
Yeah. Wispy Grove also asks, would platforms have snapping points one day? I need this so much.
Possibly, we should do it. We should do a building stream in the future. I know we have some quality of life changes there. I don't know about that one in particular,
Yeah.
but we're definitely going to be adding more to the building options and more to that system, and so it's easier to kind of make a home and a base that you're proud of. And
Good.
Def Peanut, another question about custom gameplay settings, like no dropping of backpacks. I assume that means kind of when you die and losing your items.
Mm,
No promises, but that's exactly the type of setting that I think would be in this menu, so that you can kind of tailor that experience.
yeah. With that kind of set of options, it's always like infinite potential things we could add to it, and we're just gonna try and like hit the top, like the ones that we think are some of the biggest, most important levers. And it'll probably be closer to hitting early access because like things are still changing, and honestly, there are a lot of these other things that are more integrated that we have to hit first. But we will be hitting spiking that probably closer to early access. See, one last question. I originally got interested in Nera because of the description as a chill space to hang out with your friends, along with being a magical survival crafter. Are there still thoughts about that and possibly building for moments of chill and downtime while playing with friends?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's something we're kind of always trying to infuse into the spaces we build. So I think our upcoming biome, the reef, it'll have some enemies. It'll be harder. It'll have some areas, but there's also a bunch of new areas for you to really put your stake in the ground and kind of build a chill hangout space. We're also making some like uh, targeted improvement to that. There's an issue right now where if you happen to build your base right on top of an enemy spawn, you are cursed for forever being invaded by the deep. And so that's not actually something we want. We want you to be able to create an area, create a region of safety, and be like, this is the spot that I want to go when it's time to chill. We're also looking at some ways that, like, as you progress through the game, you can kind of clear some of the corruption and some of the enemy presence and kind of bring back a little bit of peace and quiet to it. We also really want to keep pushing it night and daytime, so that night feels like a little bit more dangerous, and daytime is maybe time for a chill fishing trip with friends. So we're definitely trying to balance that. We're not trying to turn all the dials up and make sure that everything is scary. We definitely want you to be able to have areas of safety, being able to kind of opt into and out of challenge more, and kind of like clear expectations about when am I safe and when am I not.
Good morning, Night Fox.
Morning, night.
Morning. Where are you? Assumption by there being a set amount of skill points that in multiplayer people can specialize with what they unlock in their points.
Yeah, we
And would
definitely want to keep pushing that. I think as people saw with the demo, we had, you were able to unlock most of the things you needed, which is great, especially for a solo player. But we have plans to introduce a respec item at some point, so that you are not locked into those choices that you made early in the game when you didn't know much about it. And then we do want to, through skill points, make you have to make some choices, particularly later in progression, so that maybe if you're playing with friends, kind of one of you can specialize in, you know, weapon crafting, and one of you can be the chef. So still figuring out our balance there, but definitely looking to have more of that.
Dude, our chat is crazy international right now. This is so cool. We've got some people tuning in from Europe at 2 and 3 a.m. We got some folks in Australia late morning for Jessica. That's amazing. Um, uh, man, maybe next year we should like revisit some of the stream time to make it work for more time zones. Portugal, that's so cool. Um, I've been playing the game and been loving it. Haven't done the last boss, but great work. Thank you very much. Very excited for you to see the rest of it, and for you to see the cool new stuff coming soon. Um, what I wanted to know if we could reset mid game to ensure you're not wasting points in early game, things you no longer need. So being able to reset some of your skill points.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, right now they're permanent choices, right? And that's one of the reasons we kind of balance them to be so generous. But yes, no, we definitely want to give you ways to reset your points, redo your choices, or let's say your gameplay preferences have changed. We want you to be able to kind of yeah, revisit those. So That'll probably come in the form of a crafted item. I can't stand it when games make it really, really hard to respec, so it'll probably be pretty generous. But yeah, that'll be coming soon.
Oh, Path of Exile 2 right now. I don't have the gold for that.
Oh, they just made it 50% cheaper. It's a
I
lot.
know, but still, I'm so poor. Happy holidays, Team Nera. Thank you. Is that Elvout? Yeah, thank you very much. Have you maybe looked at making the days slash night longer or slowing it down? It seems to move a little fast.
Yeah, lots of thoughts on that. We're still figuring out when that slots in, but yes, right now, night and day are actually the same length, and so we
Elvout.
want to be able, due to some technical reasons, we had to do that. But we are going to do some work to make it so that we can kind of set the time of day and night independently from each other, so we can really balance that out. We want to also give you more tools to deal with night, and then that's also potentially a server setting. I don't know if I can think of a survival crafting game with a day and night cycle that doesn't allow you to kind of tweak day and night length in its server settings. And so, yeah, we definitely have a bunch of improvements coming to night and day and the balance between.
Oh God, that sounds hard. That sounds
It is.
complicated.
That's why we haven't done it.
Yeah. Oh, another first-time chatter. Holy crap. Alphonsus. Specking into underwater breathing early felt bad. Makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. You don't need that a whole lot until you're really doing a lot of exploration down there.
Totally. Yeah, lot of stat balance coming too. We want to make sure that none of the choices there feel bad. And yeah, we'll want you to be able to respect both your stat points and your knowledge points.
Night Fox says, as a surfer, the boards in game, I am in love. That's great because someone who I knew was a surfer was like, "Whoa, surfing without waves!" I'm like, it's a freaking video game, dude. People want to surf, let them surf. uh, Next suggestion: make it cuttable for day and night settings. Love the idea of having a shrine or something to put items in to tweak the difficulty or rewards of a certain night day cycle. Oh wow! To actually augment some of the difficulty in the game with an in-game tool. That's cool.
That is really cool. As someone who's playing a lot of Path of Exile 2 right now, being able to modify the difficulty through items is something very interesting to me.
I'm only like 2 hours in right now. I this holiday period I'll be catching up. The surfing feels smooth and immersive. Awesome. Feel different so many ways. Cool. I know we're kind of getting toward time. Skimmer drive so smooth. I love it. Dude, see, like a lot of skimmer love. That's awesome.
Yeah, props to Andrew, Waterproof Jedi. He spent a lot of time on both the visuals and animations of the skimmer.
You've been letting some ideas on the website of user suggestions. Please use the game feature upvote board, by the way. That's a really helpful way for us to get a sense of like some of the ideas out there, and also just like the temperature on some of them, right? Because some of the like hunger friction is just like real loud and clear.
Yeah, and we're going to be keeping that through release, so definitely get in there. And even if you don't have suggestions, upvote ones that are particularly exciting to you, so that we can kind of take your temperature there.
Yeah. Schoolboy Yoda says a photo mode that removes the UI would be great for screenshots. Tell me about it. Honestly, a lot of the screenshots that we take for like press pictures and like press kits and stuff is using the Unreal cheats to do exactly that. Being able to have that be player facing would be dope. When we get there, but yeah, please add it to the feature upvote board. That would love that. Just to be able to keep track of it. Also, it's sort of like a way for us to also talk directly with you about like, hey, like we're finally getting to this now, this thing that you've been asking for, and I think there's like good sort of back and forth there that we're trying to build. The fishing rod. Oh, the fishing rod's animations are a little ancient, actually. So I know that kills us a little bit internally whenever people are fishing on stream. Although it is kind of hilarious. But less hilarious than like the butt scoot, which is like hilarious in a way that everyone's all about. Okay. So to wrap up our end of year dev stream, I would like to do a dramatic reading of a poem. And I want for the record to show that I spent 40 minutes writing this poem. It's not AI or some shit like that. I did this. So, cringe
Old school.
included, this is me. Okay? Yeah, Cheery doesn't know because I literally finished a meeting with her at 4:20 and then I immediately wrote a poem. So, okay? All right. That's right. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm Michael Chu. All right. Happy holidays, everybody. No. 'Twas the launch of the demo, and the whole Treehouse team had worked day and night in pursuit of their dream. We added new content. We became bug slayers in the hopes that Voyagers would delight some new players. And so OTK Expo began to play, hosted by the legendary Ovally May. Voyagers of Nera made a fresh debut, followed by me jumping into the blue. And players flocked in, ready to try. They exclaimed and proclaimed and started to cry. Now running and jumping, now skimming and sailing, on reef hops, on spirits, on diving and fighting. To the edge of the embrace, to the ancients' rest. Now sail away, skim away, this is the best. We watch with amazement, totally stunned. In flooded clips of you having fun. Comments and feedback that we started to hoard. Goodies and nuggets all over Discord. It's just what we hoped. They really came as 10,000 players tried our little game. There's plenty to do, more than a plateful. But as we take a short break, please know that we're grateful. We love bringing you fun, and there's more stuff in sight. Happy holidays to all, and all a good night.
Beautiful.
Thank you guys so much for playing our demo. We have had 10,000 people as of this morning play the game, which is crazy, which is nuts. And so freaking exciting for us to actually have our game out there in front of so many people, getting this feedback and getting to use all of that feedback to make the game better. Like that's literally why we wake up in the morning. That's why we're game developers. And so thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for joining us on this kind of ridiculous, crazy journey that we've been on. And for a lot of the folks in this call, play testing with us since April, since May, some even earlier. Thank you guys so much for sharing our excitement, giving us this passion sort of back that we can use to make the game better. Really, thank you guys so much. So 2025, we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep building more. We're going to keep play testing. We're going to do it bigger and better. And then we're going to launch the freaking game. So really, really excited. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you in the new year. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
I can be nothing but cringe, but hopefully authentically cringe. But thank you guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Hope you guys have a happy new year. How long will the demo be up? Oh, actually, huge question. So we're actually leaving the demo up for good, actually. We don't really see a reason to take it down. So we're just going to leave it up. And actually, we're going to keep updating it. We want to keep putting out some of our new best and greatest, especially when we're looking for feedback at scale. We really want people to be able to access that through the demo. But if you really want to see the rough and ready, like the in development stuff, join our Discord, sign up for that playtest group. And even as we're getting closer to launch, when we're testing like the really like not ready for primetime stuff where we really need feedback, that's the place. So please go over there, sign up, and know that you're going to be helping us, like literally the day after we make this change, pushing it to that playtest, getting feedback, and making changes. All right. Cool. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, poor Ryan is just stuck here listening to me recite poetry. No, you don't have to keep signing up for playtests. That pool is a group that we're going to keep sort of going to and asking to playtest the game. All right. Thank you guys so much. Hope everyone has a good holiday, and we will talk to you guys in the new year. Bye, folks.